Cool. So, welcome. Thank you for joining the Learn to Prompt weekly series that we started this year because we got a lot of signups from around the world. And one of the big things of our times is to understand how to prompt better. So, overall, if I take a step back, I'll just introduce how we think about it. So every marketing leader, whether you're a small business owner or Fortune 500 exec, is facing a challenge to scale growth without significantly increasing spend. All these tools that are available now to improve your marketing come with a certain amount of spend, and you need to figure out which tool will replace what existing tool in your stack, whether you're a solopreneur or medium size or other kind of business. So that's sort of the focus. I also run this community called AI and Marketing. We do a bunch of summits and meetups in San Francisco, hackathons. So we've done three AI and Marketing summits, and the fourth one is coming up in the next couple of months. So Learn to Prompt series is built around the practical question: how do you use modern AI tools to improve how products are launched, positions, distributed? A lot of things that used to be agency work that people didn't think could be done with AI, and prompting is now open to understanding and open to exploring. And this series brings together, like in this group today, there are founders, marketeers, operators that want to do hands-on work, then talk about it. And we focus on prompt design as a core skill for go-to-market work. And I'll give you an introduction for the different types of prompting, etc. And then we'll use Humanic as a base to put in some of these prompts and see what certain other advanced use cases and glitches that we'll walk you through. So high level, I think we did a quick intro. Mostly I'm going to focus on the first 15-30 minutes on the learning to prompt, the mindset that you pointed out, the structure, evaluations, how you can do it, ownership, and then we do a working session, answer any questions from there on. These are some pictures of an AI marketing summit that we did a few months ago. So we had a lot of speakers from different CMOs and other marketing leaders from very many companies. All the details are on our website, humanic.ai. If you go to AI and Marketing, you'll see the list of speakers, and a lot of talks are recorded and available on YouTube if you are interested around that. So again, taking a high level view, 100,000 foot level view, like the future of software is prompt based. I don't think the configuration style will go away, but prompting is going to be almost in the interface to any software tool. So in lifecycle marketing, which is where we are, there is Humanic, there is Resend. UI generation, much bigger tools like Bolt and Lovable are obviously pretty big. And then on the development side, for those of you who are developers, there is Cursor, which is doing fantastic. And then there is Vercel, which is also doing fantastic. Many of these tools are, Cursor, Lovable, Bolt, Humanic are all prompt-based. So we're seeing a shift in the interface in which you can talk to AI. So the other thing why prompting is important is as some of you know, there is the classic search engines that have been around for 25 years now, which are prescriptive, where if you put in a query in Google, it will give you the same answer every time. But one way to think about LLMs is a condensed search engine. All of the information that's available, textual information that is available in the world, has been condensed in a series of parameters or numbers, like billions of parameters and numbers, but it is therefore probabilistic in nature. Each time you prompt an LLM, a large language model, it will give you a slightly different answer. And we're going to talk about it. So that's at a high level for those who are fairly new to large language models or AI. That is the structure of the difference between Google search as well as the new class of LLM models. Okay. So again, at a high level, if you think about AI and marketing, and the way that we think about AI marketing is that There used to be a bunch of things that agencies or internal teams used to do, or internal engineering teams, which are now becoming products. One of the core or the main things that is different is that this availability of no code AI workflows, where there is things like Zapier, which is very popular. There's Make, there is End, which is your open source type of product that is very popular, where you can connect almost anything to anything else and create your own workflow. One of the advantages of AI is that uh, the key thing is that your most important information in your organization is not in digital form. It's in the minds of people that have these, that we all have meetings and calls to understand what is, how do we grow the business, or how do we build a better product. And now with these workflow tools that are available, Zapier and there is AirOps for SEO relevance, etc. You can customize your workflow uh, and gets automations in place. And that's sort of your no code workflows. Then there is, marketing orchestration, which I talked about, like Resend, Iterable, Humanic. They're all doing AI email. AI data intelligence, there's AMP, there's Amoeba, there's very many tools in the data intelligence layer by which you can prompt. Amplitude just released something, Amplitude Analytics, where with a prompt you can understand what's going on. And then a couple of other tools for demand gen are Clay and Apollo, where you can again automate your go-to-market motion. It's kind of complicated to use, but the idea is they're still the same. It's a workflow that you can customize. SEO is undergoing a big change because a lot of people are starting to look for things on your LLMs, and AirOps is a big player in this market, right? Sonic, based in India, and then very many tools there. Website generation that used to be custom work that you would outsource is now very easily doable with Lovable or Bolt. There is also Replit. And then the other big category that's opened up when you think of AI marketing is content generation. So think Figma, Canva, Gamma for slides. I'm using Gamma right now. Descript is a big tool for any video editing. So there used to be older tools on video, like obviously the Adobe suite, but now Descript has come out with different things, and Writer is an enterprise grade content generation that is pretty big, but most people don't see that much because it's built for very large enterprises. So hopefully this gives you a sense of how the marketing AI marketing landscape is changing, and a lot of the things that used to be agency work or internal teams work is now using you can use a tool to build those things. Cool. Uh, Stepping into a little more detail around email marketing. So when you think of email marketing, there is a spectrum. So on the left-hand side is cold emails. These are emails where email lists are purchased from things like Apollo and other providers. Generally, cold emails are short text-based emails. They have a front-end offer like, come here, it'll increase revenue or something like that. Cold emails, because you don't know the person, you just wanted to give the best offer that you can give. It requires content iteration. There is the issue of domain burn and warming up mailboxes, and it's sort of, constantly doing that. And the open rates are less than 1% because obviously people don't know you, they don't open your emails, etc. So that's a completely different. There are certain tools like Instantly and Smartly that do, are focus on cold emails, and that's a very different sort of product in business, even within email marketing. Then there is something called transactional emails. So every time you sign up or you forget a password, you get a billing confirmation. These are, static emails. They always go out. You will always open them, but there is no monetization. It's just, hygiene types of emails. And what Humanic focuses on more are nurture emails, where you have an opted-in list of email addresses. It's not bought, but it's available. You want pixel perfect graphics, you want brand cohesion, you need to be strategic with your iterations, open rates for good nurture emails are between 20 to 30%. People expect to receive these emails. The new challenge with nurture emails is that Google and Apple and others are reclassifying emails into your inbox and promotions and offers. So there used to be deliverability, which was a big challenge for emails in general, but now there is with AI and the big providers that have 60 to 80% of mailboxes are have their own AI to reclassify your emails. So it adds an next layer of uh, complexity into getting your business information to your intended audience. Any questions here so far before we move on? Cool. Okay. And anytime this presentation is for you, let's keep it interactive. So as much as possible, interrupt me and ask questions, and so that we can get the most out of this time together. So prompting, obviously, it's a mindset shift, and you have the idea, the mindset you need to have that you have a very capable intern, and but the intern is still an intern or a junior, associate or someone. They know a lot of context, but the ownership is still with you. So there is no it's not magic. It's still a computer program that behaves in a that has a lot of context already because it's been trained on a lot of data. So it has a lot of context, whether you have a medical issue or a financial issue, and that's what's new about AI. But at the end of it, it's still a computer program. LLMs are nothing but large scale matrix multiplication that are done repeatedly for hundreds and hundreds of hours, and that gives them that complexity in the last in these words. And then next is the structure of what a prompt is going to look like. So there is the idea of the goal, the audience, and the context, and this is what we're going to dive in the next couple of slides. Cool. So in terms of prompting techniques, there are 4 techniques, high level. One is called zero shot prompting. The next one is few shot prompting, and then chain of thought. So I'll talk about these 3 here, and then the 4th one I'll talk about in the next slide. So zero shot prompting is that you directly instruct the AI without examples, using its built-in knowledge for quick email drafts or quick. I'm just going to use Humanic as the platform to demonstrate prompting, but it could be email, it could be websites, it could be anything, copy that you're building. And so, for example, a zero shot prompt would be write a promotional email for Black Friday sale targeting fashion enthusiasts, including a 30% discount code and urgency in the CDA. So this is some people call it one-shot prompting or zero-shot prompting, but the idea is that you are expecting magic, so you put in straight away something, and you expect the LLM to know everything, and it is actually very fascinating how good the zero-shot prompting is for most use cases, and that's why that's been the magic in the last 3 years where ChatGPT has grown in so much popularity because it's so unexpected and thrilling, and also scary at times, like how much context is already understood by these LLMs. So I would say a good 70-80% of the people do zero shot prompting, or if you try a new tool or you try a new LLM, what you're going to do is provide zero shot prompt, like provide the information. Uh, so I'll take questions once I finish, but so that's what most people would do. That's how you would start, and you continue to do that, and sometimes it works. Most of the time it starts to work. So last couple of years, if I go back, so in 2024, the prompting that you did was not good for production grade systems. So we were building Humanic and we were panicking because it wasn't working. But last year, around January, the DeepSeek moment is when the models started to get better and better. And throughout last year, 2025, the models have gotten so much better that zero shot prompting is becoming more and more promising and more useful over the last 12 months or so. So that's sort of, uh, about what most people do, what you would do naturally. Um, and there is a little bit more discipline required to do few shot prompting. Few shot prompting, nothing, fancy. It's basically you are providing two, three sample emails or a few samples of whatever you want it to understand. So an example would be for an email use case, you provide a subject, a flash sale alert, like this is the structure you want, this is another structure you want, and then you ask the LLM to um, generate something, uh, generate something because you provided some samples. So that's called few shot prompting. And uh, this requires a little bit of discipline. Like you need to think about what you're trying to do. You need to have some samples. You need to be, patient to say, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to ask you to do, what I really want you to do. And I think that sort of patience and trust you would only require when zero shot prompting is not working for you or it is misbehaving for you. That's when you would move naturally to few shot prompting. But if you are doing something very specific and you want something, a very specific output, which is like if you're running a business, then I would highly encourage you to do few shot prompting instead of zero shot prompting. And then third is the chain of thought, where you break down email creation or anything into reasoned steps for best personalization and logic. So basically, you'll say, it is like if you were talking to an intern, like, what should be my goal with new subscribers? Like, give me a plan to craft engaging subjects or uh, personalize the signups. Like you're talking to the LLM in a very logical manner and asking it to give you, what it thinks you should be doing, and then ask it to generate, like, based on everything that's been discussed, what you've agreed, what you haven't agreed. It's almost like contracting with the LLM to say, here is what I'm thinking, what do you think? And then you do that a few times in chain of thought, like, what do you think of this thing? What if this happens? What if this happens? And now the LLM has all the context, and then it would produce uh, a better output, much more structured, very few, hallucinations and things like that. Any questions so far? Let me take a look at the questions.
I've got a question, if that's all
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
So that chain of thought sort of things, is that the same way of when you're prompting? I think there's a feature where you click on to plan before you actually send the prompt.
You say plan.
Yeah, I think there's a bottom at the uh, text box. You can click on plan, I think it is, and you type
Uh,
in your prompt and that, and then or it might be Bolt, sorry,
Plan in which tool?
Bolt, I think it is.
Uh, I
Because
haven't
when I was
used
using,
Bolt. Yeah, probably. Like I haven't particularly used Bolt myself. Mostly use Lovable. But yeah, if there, yeah, chain of thought would be give me a plan on how I do this.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Cool. Now, the other more sort of, so we just went from like zero shot to chain of thought, but now extending chain of thought even, further is what is role-based prompting, which is so the most comprehensive sort of context that you can provide to the LLM. So what the LLM has is a lot of context from existing knowledge and everybody else, but what doesn't have is what is being called frontier knowledge. It does not know what you particularly are trying to get done. And in this thing, there is this, this role-based prompting where you say, here is a role, you're a marketing expert, you provide the context of your business, like I'm based in Perth or Sydney or Melbourne, and this is my specific thing that I'm trying to do. So everything you need to think about, everything that the model will not know, that you should, it should know about your business. And that's the context. So this is where there is a mindset shift that it will do a great job regardless, but you need to, think about the context, write it down, and thinking through. And even if you don't have the context straight away in your head, you can use the LLM to, generate the context for you in written form. And one thing I would also say is that um, prompting can be done both text-based and audio. So you can also speak to most LLMs. You can speak to it in Humanic also. And if that is a mode that works better for you than writing, so always switch to, you can always switch to an audio mode and just, do a verbal diarrhea and give it everything that you think it should know in a free form voice. And that might be helpful in certain cases. Then you need to, so once you've provided it the role, like this is the shape that you need to be, this is the bounding box, this is the context, this is the task I want you to do, and this is the format that I want you to, give me the output in. And then also talk about there are certain constraints that you need to have while you're giving me back the output. Otherwise, the LLM is making the best guess of what will be appealing to you. Obviously it has a lot of data, but it still doesn't know, if you don't provide constraints, what is it that you're expecting. So this is something, core mindset shift, I would say, in terms of how to get the best out of any LLM. So now, if I go back and if we do zero-shot prompting with any LLM, so there are, three big series of LLMs. One is the Claude Anthropic series, and then there is the Gemini, and then there is your OpenAI. There is also others like Llama and everything else, but these are the top three, mostly for production sort of use cases. Llama is like more open source, Facebook and such, but if you're looking for any kind of marketing or business context, those are the ones that are used. There's also Grok, that is a Twitter thing, but it's not that, at least for email marketing, not that great. So the for all these LLMs, if you do zero-shot prompting, you will get very different results, because each of these LLM series are starting to have a personality of their own. So Anthropic is more marketing heavy, Gemini is more creative, and OpenAI is more salesy. So if you just do a zero-shot prompt, you will see a very different flavor in the email or the output that it generates. But if you provide role-based prompting, like you provided all the role, the context, the task, the difference in the output in the LLMs will be marginal at best. So it'll be very, very similar to each other, because you've provided a lot of constraints. So you take the LLM, out of the picture. So if you have running a team and you have, other people doing that, then, providing a role-based prompting template is much more suitable for you than allowing, letting folks do what they want to do. So let me give you an example of a full role-based prompt. So here, when I say sort of role, this is not sufficient for good output or consistent output. What you need to be doing is something like this. You're a direct response copywriter with 15 years of experience in e-commerce brand. You specialize in these things. These are some famous people in the industry. So that's at least a couple of lines of what your role is, versus like 3 words or 4 words on what your role is. Context, again, who are you selling to? What are you selling? um, you know, what you want it to be. So this requires some thinking, and this you can generate. You can ask it to, give you the right sort of context that will work best for the LLM, and it will, you know, it will prevent the, blank slate problem or the cold start problem for you. You'll have something to work on. One of the things that humans find very hard to do is like start to imagine something from scratch, and the LLM is really good at providing you a starting point that you can build on. Then there is the tasks. So here it's very specific, like 5 email sequence. Email one needs to be warm. Email two needs to be this. You can also, I'll show you some of these things, but you know, um, there is also certain things around uh, driving FOMO, to say, let's say you are building a sequence, a welcome sequence. You can say things like brand is voice, warm, confidence, etc. But you can also say in many situations that I'm writing this email sequence, but I need to drive FOMO, and it will, very Anthropic does it really well, more than OpenAI does, which is like I think over the top, at least for my taste. But those are you know things that you can see. You can also ask it to be creative, uh, and take what you've given it, and then do iterate on it, or generate a variation. So what AI does really well is if you start with a full role-based prompt, it will do a real it will be easy for it to iterate, generate variations, and obviously translations. So iteration, variation, translation is sort of naturally AI is naturally good at. Then next step is format. So for each email, you use the structure. You expect it. Like let's say you don't know what the body should be, how long the body should be, etc. You can ask it to say. You can ask the LLM to tell you, recommend something, and then pick from, or ask it to say, give me 3 examples, or 3 lens, and recommend which one is best, and then you can use it. So there is no substitute for human intelligence yet. Like it gives you a lot of context, but you can't sort of just use it without thinking through what it's saying and whether it'll build for you. The other thing you must have noticed if you've been prompting a lot is the LLMs are trained to make you feel good. So almost anything that you do, it will validate sort of your point of view, and then ask you to, go to the pro plan. So that is something that you need to be careful about. So I think we are not there yet where human intelligence is not required. It's still a tool. It's still a bunch of numbers that are, that needs to be sort of carefully utilized to do certain things more efficiently. And finally, there are constraints. So do not words use like revolutionary, game changing. Do not start any email with a question. Writing in an eighth grade reading level, etc. So this would be an example of a well-formed prompt that you can use, that requires maybe 15-20 minutes of thinking. And um, once you have it, you will be able to utilize, fewer sort of tokens or credits, because you're giving it all the context, and then it's building out and the output that you need. So before I get into the demo section, I wanted to just um, take a pause and ask any questions if anybody has any.
I have a question. How does token works with prompting? How is that calculation done?
It's not an exact uh, sort of number. So there is tokens are done at how would you say that? So tokens are basically things that are um, A token, that the actual definition, Raman, you want to go?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So it fundamentally boils down to how LLM works. So LLM is nothing, but there is an input layer, there is some calculation layer, and there's an output layer. So while we are doing, and there's embedding generation. So while we are generating those embeddings, there is some compute which is involved. So when you give an input, your prompt is nothing but an input layer. Input layer is again converted to an embedding layer. So while you're doing all sort of transformations to come up to a prediction layer, so that particular process takes your tokens. So yes, your token is somewhere related to your prompt is related to the number of tokens you are consumed. So the larger the context window a a specific model requires, the more token it will consume. Does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. So
Yeah.
your prompt has to be short but relevant.
It's not only about like it against
Ra-
like it's a trade-off. If you need more performance, you need to give more context.
Okay.
yeah.
So
So it's not about short. I think tokens is a very mathematical and very LLM specific thing, like Raman pointed out. It is basically predicting when an LLM is working. It is basically, let's say it has to, spell Arti. It'll start with A, and then it will do a lot of calculations to say if it's this kind of name, what is the next
Hmm.
letter in the
Hmm.
alphabet that is most likely. So it does a bunch of calculation and say, okay, A is possible, T is possible, V is possible. I'll go with A, and that's how it's predicting. And that process is where it utilizes token to predict that particular word. So tokens are generally used when you are doing like cursor, like when you're doing coding type of applications. Tokens are much more relevant, but most sort of
Okay.
go-to-market applications would use something like a credit. So we do a credit, which is tied to what your business outcome is versus the number of tokens. So like if I told you, like for example, in Humanic, we have, for every prompt, we charge you 10 credits. In each, there is a value to the credit, but
Hmm.
we don't charge you for the length of the prompt. So you can write a single
Right.
line prompt, you can write a two-page prompt, because we want you to generate the best email possible in the first go. So the more well-formed your prompt is, the better your output is going to be, the better you're likely to stay on. So we don't we don't charge in terms of tokens. Like if you have a long prompt, it could take 100,000 tokens, but that's not material. What is material is what is, how many credits did you buy, and how many credits are you consuming to get the job that you're going to get done. So I would say very high
Okay.
level, credits are more a mathematical, like how the LLM works if you're doing you're building an application or coding or something. But credits is the way that most newer applications are more tied to the business outcome.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
I'll jump in and bet that credits stuff as well.
Sure.
So what
Sorry,
I've
say that.
learned,
Go ahead. Yeah.
so what I've learned over the past 12 months of using AI is that almost every LLM uses the credits differently. Each model has a a higher cost for the latest version. Um, Also, you can think of it being, one token is like energy, like kind of like what you
Yeah.
mentioned, energy use. So to get instead of going back and forth, trying to sort out something, you might be better off doing one prompt with more contents. It might be worth more in the first one, but you're not going back and forth with smaller prompting windows, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Cool.
Hi,
Anybody
Arjun.
else?
Uh,
Yeah.
Vaibhav here. So I'm very at a beginner level right now. I'm learning the AI and all such things. So my question here is, I was attending one growth school Zoom meeting in which they are giving us the prompting for the lovable and the bold. So Supan, I think, was there, and he was telling that the minimal the prompt was that it will really help us to build the applications. Okay, so be relative and all such things related to that one. So my question here is it like prompting should be different to all such tools. Like if you are using the Humanic, so it will be very relative in the context field. When we are using the Bolt and Lovable, so it will be in the short term, so it can understand what we are going to give the input, all such things. Yeah, like that.
So if I understand your question correctly, you're asking whether prompting will be different based on the tool
Yeah,
that you're
yeah.
using.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
yeah, I don't think so because all these I don't believe that is the case because at the end every application, whether it's Lovable, Bolt, Humanic, is using LLMs in the backend. So they are either using OpenAI. So think of it as a layer cake. So there is, OpenAI, there is Anthropic, there is Gemini. These are three flavors of um, um, of LLMs that Lovable, Bolt, Replit, Humanic, etc., all use in different ways. So the prompting is a sort of a generic thing. It's like coding. Like if you need to code in React versus, it's actually not even akin to coding because there is, it's all in English and it's all very generic. Like you can use the same structure that I just explained on any tool and it should work fine.
Okay, thank you.
Hey Arjun, this is Rajesh.
Got it.
I have a small question. So I'm using right now HubSpot for email marketing, and then it charge me like thousands of dollars. You know that the pricing is very hard for them, and but they have all the details like the automation, trigger, nurture, everything. How I can make the best possible case scenario with Humanic to have all these features, or you are going to explain each and everything in the today's call?
Yeah, so we are going to now switch to Humanic and uh, let me do that. Okay, so any questions you can reach out to me or Raman, outside, inside, if you want to ask, have specific questions around prompting in general, we can take that. But now moving on to the demo part, and I'll walk you through how this works. So um, Humanic is AI native email marketing. So every email marketing platform like HubSpot and Salesforce and MailChimp and everything else, it was built 15, 20 years ago. They all have this concept of, drag and drop editors, configuring things and pretty complicated setup like trees and things like that. And our focus is simplicity. So if I just log in, so this is, our platform where the focus really is on a prompt. So, who was Rajesh? Were you just speaking?
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. So, can you give me a website for your company, or if we have a
Uh,
Slack group?
it is a devtron.ai.
Okay, for HTTPS devtron.ai. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll start with a zero-shot prompt example in Humanic. So I just said generate an email newsletter, and I just provided, my website, and I have, we test all the models, and we put the tag best for you to choose from. So there are, like I said, these are the Claude series. These are the latest models. So Claude comes in three flavors. There is Opus, which is the large model, Opus 4.6, that came out one or 2 weeks ago. And then there are the Sonnet series that are middle, and then there is the Haiku, which is a very small model, which we don't use. So Sonnet 4.6 currently in our testing is the best. This is slightly older model, like 3 months old. And then Opus, we use as a hammer. So if it's misbehaving, you go to a large model and be very prescriptive on what to do. Then you have the latest two Gemini models, and then you have the latest two OpenAI models. We also doing some testing with Grok, but I wouldn't recommend that, at least for email marketing. It does very well for analytics. Like if you want data, you want to have a bunch of Excel sheets and you want to do some data analytics, Grok is really great for that. So here I will, so that we also have this audio mode, and we also have the ability to, have all your campaign preferences. Like as you start creating campaigns, it will automatically capture the summary of what you're trying to do in your campaign preferences, and you can edit it, and you can add things like I want this style always, etc. So all your campaigns will always work from there. If you want to attach anything, this is pretty standard, you can attach it. We also have some starting prompts available to you, so if you want to build out your standout newsletter, etc., this is like a more well-formed prompt. I would say like it doesn't have the role base because we don't know what your role is, but it's more well formed than a single zero shot prompt which we provided here for you to get started. So you can just go in to, if you are currently in front of a computer, obviously, you can go to humanic.ai, enter a prompt, a single shot prompt, and see how it looks. So it will go ahead, Rajesh, and pull information like your font, your brand colors. Oops, what happened here? One second. Some glitch. Let me try it again. Yeah, it will pull your font, your style, your spacing, your brand colors, and everything else, and do it the best job it can to, with that single prompt, to create a campaign. So it started creating campaign, and we create the MGML code for it. If you want to edit it further, it'll give you a first draft, but you can then continue to use the prompt box to add more context, change different things, anything from style, from content to tone, etc. And again, these options are here for you to either change the model, put it in audio, or as well as change the campaign preferences. So in terms of your question, I'll show you a few examples of the differences between HubSpot and Humanic. So one is, this is not a difference. I'll show you personalization once it's developed. But while it's generating the email, there is you need to either connect your Gmail, or you need to connect your domain, which is pretty standard for any email marketing tool. So I have like humanic.so connected, and I put in my email address. I put in my sender name, and so now it will, it knows what to use to send the email. And okay, so now it's generated. Yeah, so it's generated this email for you within a few minutes. Now, this thing is, does this look good to you?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
This is like very useful.
So now all the versions can come here. So let's say it created this email, but I think there are some glitches here. So what I'll do is I will take a screenshot and say, drag it here and say, regenerate email, and make sure the boxes are aligned and the same size and spacing. So it will go ahead, it will apologize in most cases for doing this incorrectly. See, it'll say, I can see the issue, the feature cards are misaligned due to icon images not being proper. Let me fix all the cards. So it will create this new version of it, and this next version will show up here. So you can switch between versions. So from a lot of companies are using it, you're using us to One, reduce user fatigue. So let's say you have a lot of creative already that you are sending out. All you have to do is attach that image here and say generate a variation, generate a different sort of make it modern, add FOMO, etc., etc. So that is a use case that is very simple to use for Humanic. You can then export that. If you're using HubSpot and you don't want to switch providers, you can export the content in HTML, or you can copy the code and then use your tools, or you can use Humanic right there. The other thing that we do is that we provide you insights into whether this email is going to land in inbox or not. So several things that are green are passed, but like the links don't match, or open tracking, click tracking is enabled. This is your choice depending on how clean your list is. You're not using a root domain, so these are explanations on some of the things that may cause this email to not land in the inbox or not be delivered. So that's something included. So let's see if that does it. Okay, so it still did not fix it. Like, it fixed two of these things, but I don't like it. And I tried Sonnet 4.6. So what I will do now is I will take this and go to my hammer. I will go to a larger model and say, I'm not happy with the output. Please review attached email, attached image again, and make sure the boxes are aligned. Maybe even remove the icons if they are causing misalignment. So yeah, the size of these icons that is pulled, it's probably causing the misalignment. So you can also read, and then you can build, and those are those are some ways in which you can expedite giving it context to review and do it faster. The other way to do that would be, you can also specify, like, I don't like this image, or I don't like the background in the new feature block. Matched padding rows. Yeah, it's saying removed all emoji icons, but it's still not correct. So this is when you're doing production grade stuff, you require like maybe 8 to 10 iterations. So it's saying it did all that. So remove from the boxes. And here I can, like, I've seen like the Claude, I tried twice and it didn't work properly. So I can switch the model, and I can, from the boxes in the attached image, and make sure they are aligned, it looking tacky the way it is right now. So I try a different model. So that's another, multi-model prompting is something that I would, recommend when you are, like, if you just use one model, then you're limited. Now we can use, different models to get the output that we are looking for, because we have a very clear idea of what we want. So, anybody using this? Okay, so now you see that it has fixed this model. So now this is a perfectly aligned email except this part. So OpenAI fixed a problem that Claude wasn't able to do. Now I can say, give me a plan to make this email more compelling and drive FOMO. And I'm not asking it to generate an email. I'm just asking it to give me a plan. So this is your, chain of thought type of example. Like I'm asking it to give it a plan. So it's, starting to give me a plan. I can look at it. And then should the primary, it'll ask you, please ignore for now. And then I can go back to my sonnet and say, please ignore CTA link and implement plan described above. So it will take this plan and then give you another flavor of the email. So this is another way in which you can create, iteration and variation for different types of emails. If you want to switch between these things, you can go back and say, I want to use this version or delete a version or stay on this version. So this is, a way, like if you don't want this image, you can either screenshot it or you can, ask it to remove it and keep it blank. And therefore create. The other thing it automatically does, that it will also make sure that the email looks good in mobile view, which you should check. And so this is not looking great in mobile view. It's hard to read. And this is another thing that I will let it know. So it will, improve this also. So once it finishes, one thing, it's not easy to stop the LLM while it's generating something. The text, the attached, great on mobile, please redo. So you should always check how many people are opening your emails on mobile versus desktop. And if mobile is a significant portion, then always check how it looks on mobile view. Because it's always tricky to get the formatting right between the two components. Any questions, Rajesh, or anybody else?
Yeah, mate. Sorry, I was just over talking to someone then.
I think both of you started speaking at the same time.
Okay. Just wanted a question. Once you get your end result of what you're after, can you actually use the AI to create a prompt for that result to replicate for different email
Yeah.
email
Yes.
thingies?
Yes. So once you generate this prompt, like I mentioned, all of that gets captured, like the summary, not the exact prompt, but what you've been trying to do gets captured in the. So this is my account, so that's why it's pretty long, because I have, very many things in here. But you can go ahead and edit that and, make sure that this is, it captures the summary of what you're trying to do automatically. So just going back to this, so Rajesh, it is now, driven some FOMO, Defron SaaS is now live. All these links will be connected to your, automatically connected to, your website, etc. with just that. And now it's, made it better, I think. There's some glitch here, but it's made it horizontal, which would look better on mobile. Like this is not changed, but yeah. So this is the way that in which you can, build something. Once you've built something, you also, Jamie, to your point, you can also clone that particular email so that you have the exact same thing, and then you can build on top of that. So those are two ways in which we can build. Next thing I want to show you is analytics. So with this, like I sent this email an hour ago, and it tells you how many open, clicked, unsubscribed, etc. And I can click on any one of these, and it'll give me exactly how many people clicked on that email if I wanted the analytics. So far, any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
And so you create them from this platform, and do you also send them from here as well?
Yes.
Okay. And do you guys have like a guided way to maybe help set up our own email domain?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can connect your email domain here. So if you go into manage domains, you need to just click on add domain, add your domain name. And you can, in most cases, if you are doing opted in email addresses, you can keep open and click tracking on. Otherwise, you can disable it. And all you need to do is, whoever is in, provider like Namecheap, GoDaddy, etc. You need to go into your domain setup and add 3 records, MX record, where you add, you can copy these 2 values here and paste them. It takes like 5 minutes. You verify, and then it should show up as connected.
Okay, cool. One last question. Do you guys train or this, I guess, the AI models to, I guess, make them more deliverable in terms of avoiding
Yeah.
mail providers to avoid, like the categorization that you were mentioning earlier, like
Yes.
spam, promotion, and stuff like that?
Yeah. So we also check your domain reputation. So most of the things that go into spam, etc., are based on your domain reputation, how many people are, and user action, how many people are unsubscribing, marking it as spam, and all of that information Google keeps, for Google because it's PII information. So we track it based on your domain reputation. So domain reputation in Google has 4 levels: high, medium, low, and poor. So generally you want, for inbox placement, you want your domain reputation to be high. If it starts to dip, then we automatically pause the campaign.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So now I'm going to show you magic on this particular email. This is my favorite feature called hyperpersonalization. So let's say I built this email and now I have very high net worth and high net worth clients. I'll just pick 2 cohorts, and or it could be different, any cohorts. I'll show you how to do the cohorts, but here I can say generate the email for the first cohort. Give me a language, Rajesh.
For Kubernetes engineers or platform engineers, whatever.
No, but a
Me,
language like Spanish, Japanese, something.
English only.
No, English is already there. I wanted to show how you can change based on an attribute. So let's say, I
Spanish.
say Australia.
Japanese.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for
Australian.
users,
The Australian language
Australia.
we have a lot of swear words in Australian language.
Yes. Generate the email first cohort for users in Australia and the second cohort for users in Japanese. So it will go ahead and for the first, it has this base variant, which is in English, but it is going to generate 2 variations, one in, Australian, which I think it did. What is the difference here? Is there any difference?
The Australian version, you might find it's shorter words. We like to short our words.
Yeah, generally it does that, but the idea here is that it is going to, Alex, can you be on mute? I think there's some background noise. Yeah. The idea here is that for the same base variation, you can generate different flavors based on an attribute. The attribute could be language, could be location, could be, size of account, like whatever attribute you have, that attribute is utilized to generate the email. I think something happened here. Base variation. This looks very much like English. Yeah, it hasn't, the prompt wasn't clear enough for it to make the distinction between these two. But yeah, that's a hyper-personalization feature that we've added, where you can upload or have your CSV. So it's, let's see, base version. Yeah, this is for, it's taking the description. Oh, actually what happened, I'll tell you what happened. It's taking the description of my cohort, very high net worth client. So it's saying your portfolio company will be getting capital instead of the prompt. So that's how it's not converted it into different languages, but it's taken the description of the cohort. So let me pick another cohort. Okay, so what's happened here? You can also, so let me describe how you can manage your contacts. So you can import your CSV, you can add your contacts, again, you can connect webhooks, and you have, all your contacts here. Once you have your contacts, you can use the LLM to generate different cohorts. So I have already, a bunch of cohorts that I've created. So this is my very high network and users. And these cohorts, I can define the metadata on what this cohort is about. So in this, I've said users that are very high net worth clients. And now let's say I picked like United States and Japanese, and let me do a live test here. I say, give me a cohort of all users in Australia and Australia. Again, you can pick your sort of different models. If you have anybody in my contact list, 45, so I'll say save as cohort Australia. So if I go to my cohorts, it will have 47 people in Australia, 2 of these cohorts. Now, when I go to here, manage personalization. So instead of picking the these cohorts, I'll have to delete these cohorts. Select cohort. So I'll select Australia. What happened here? And then it will generate it in, more that language. So if I go here, linked cohorts, Australia. Why is it not connecting? Maybe there's a glitch here, but the idea is I'll just show you another example. So we just did this for, which one was this? Yeah, I just did this for, another customer that we have. and I connected it. This is the base variation, and where is the variation? It had created this in a couple of different languages. I can't find it right now. So yeah, those are those are things. Sorry about that. That you can do. Once you create the email, you can change the flavor of the email in different languages based on different attributes. Rajesh, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm almost. I'm just worried about like suppose that in HubSpot, I know there's chain of nurture campaigns, or what should be the next campaign you're going about. Suppose that you have created one emailers, and then some certain of open rates will be coming. So also it will suggest me what should be the next emailing or something like that. We should send it to the openers, or
Okay.
for non-openers, or we should go according to the prompt that you have suggested.
You're saying HubSpot will tell you what is the next email you should be sending?
Yeah, on the basis of open rates. So he will create like 4 or 5 suggestions, right? And for non-openers, he will also suggest some of the emailers template, something like that, and you can change accordingly. Does it your platform also do the similar, or should I go and do the prompting again for openers and non-openers?
Yeah, so our philosophy here is that yes, the AI can recommend things for openers and non-openers, and we haven't sort of implemented that feature for the reason that I spoke about earlier, is that at the end of the day, the AI needs context, and you cannot like automate cascading automation is not something that is going to be very useful. So once you know who's opened and who's not open, you can obviously create cohorts. And then the best thing to do is to think about what is the hypothesis? What do you want to drive? Like, what is your understanding of why they opened or why they didn't open, and provide that context for you to get the maximum output. If we automate everything like that, like it gives you 3 recommendations, like those recommendations will be very generic and not very differentiated, because it has no further hypothesis or content from you as the domain expert in for your company and for your organization. So I think it complicates the whole thing. I know that a lot of other tools have built it like that, but unless you provide it sort of context, I think in our view, it becomes uh, more complicated and complex to organize your campaigns.
Understood. Yeah. I mean, I am also thinking like, suppose that I have open rate, and then I can go, suppose that somebody has, looking for Kubernetes dashboard that the newsletter is all about, right? And whatever the people has opened it, I can go and do again a reprompt in your platform and do generating some ideas. And on the basis of that,
Yeah.
I can send the email. That is the best possible scenarios, I
That's it.
hope.
What we think,
Yeah.
most email marketing tools, because they've built all these things, have become more complex. So, like the way that I would recommend, or our philosophy here is, let's say you run a campaign, like I ran a campaign or whatever. I run multiple campaigns, and I get a certain open rate and I get a certain click rate. Now I can go ahead and send out to these open people and these clicked people. But what I really want to do is go send to all the 10,000 people that I have sent this campaign to, um, instead of just opened and clicked. And I'm thinking out loud here, so I'm happy to receive any feedback. But like if you have something, a newsletter or a promotion, you wanted you want to send it to everybody that's opted in and increase your open rate and click rate. Like, what's the use case to sort of only send it to people who've opened? It could be many different reasons why somebody opened or somebody clicked. Doesn't They have some intent, but not like there might be other people who just didn't open it. They got the email, but they didn't open it for whatever reason. So the best thing I think is, you go back, you think about the prompt, you have this data already, you have a hypothesis that you used to build the first campaign, you have the data, you have the numbers, you can create cohorts, with these users. You can say, okay, you can use the LLM to say, what is common for these people, what is common in these people, and what do you recommend, um, in the prompt box itself. And so the chain of thought that I described, you can say, here's my cohort of people who clicked, here's the cohort of people who opened. This was a campaign, this was the open rate. Is this below industry standard? Is this, normal for this season, or type of tool that we're using? And then what would you recommend? I think that's a better, simpler way to use the human and machine. Like, Humanic stands for human plus machine. So using the human expertise and the AI to work together to build something that has a much better chance of success than mindlessly, having the AI build cascading prompting without any human intervention.
Correct. I agree.
So what we've tried to do, and what HubSpot will never be able to do, is that they will never be able to simplify, because they're such a large company, there are so many people building it, that everybody wants to add more features to, go after people who are like this and like that, and this persona and that persona. But I just feel, and we just feel at Humanic, that every one of our customers is a very smart person. They know what they're doing. They have understanding of all the tools. They know the LLMs. They know you know, and we just need to empower them and say, here is a platform that is, fully capable to do a bunch of different things, but you need to work on it, and not complicate it to, make we by trying to make your life simple, we make it more complex and more cognitive load to understand what you need to click and how it's going to, happen.
Do you have some pre-built template as well?
Yeah, so in here, when you go, in the tool itself, we have, these sort of, oh, you mean prompt templates, or like template? No.
Email template,
So,
not the prompt template.
no. So here's another philosophical thing. We don't have an email template, because I think that whole thing about templates is um, sort of passe, because the AI will build a personalized template for you if you describe your website, your brand colors, whatever. And if you're more prescriptive, you can say, here is an image of something that I've already said, make an iteration, make a variation. Like the Canva style, or the, existing software style, where there are all these templates that you have to choose from, is no longer required, because the models are so good at creating. Like, you saw what it created for Deftron
Yeah.
within 5 minutes. Like, do you want a personalized template, or do you want to sift through like hundreds of templates and
Yeah.
uh,
Better
then
to
create
stick
something?
with the brands.
Yeah, just take the brand and say, make it modern. Like, what do you want to communicate? You want to communicate urgency, you want to communicate trust, ownership, and it will do that. Like, if I do this, so let me show you another thing. And I mentioned that, right? So if I take this email and switch to Gemini, and let's try it, Gemini 3, which is the latest model, and I say, make this more compelling and persuasive and modern, it will go ahead and, give you what essentially is a template. And then you can clone it. Once you spend like half an hour, 8 to 10 versions, you have a template that you would be very excited about. That's the power of the models today. And once you have that, then you can clone it repeatedly and change it. Also, something that I think has been happening in email marketing for a number of years is the once an email gets generated, it stays the same for a number of years, and it looks old, dated, and people don't like that anymore. They don't open it. So, a tool like this allows you to refresh your, brand. Like if you update your website, you can quickly come in and say, go to the website, refresh my email, my entire email sequence, and it'll happen in minutes.
Great.
Yeah. Another thing that I didn't mention, sure.
Do you guys support any integrations like for transactional emails?
Like to bring it into Humanic?
Yeah, like maybe when you send a purchase agreement or something like that, like that are kind of like that I have with automations through like Go High Level or something else, or should I just keep that over there?
Yeah, transactional emails, we are not focused on that. If you are sending purchase agreements, etc., it's probably better to keep it at Go High Level and such. Yeah, we haven't focused on that. So Gemini just created this, version 9. Let's see. No, this is sketchy, so I can, change this piece. But other than that, I would say any template that you can, select from, this is better or, equal to any template that, anybody can think of building.
I agree.
And this is just the start. We are in the beginning of 2026. We have no idea what will happen this year, how many new models are going to get generated, and how powerful they will be. Sometimes also it happens with templates. It's like two companies use the same Canva template, and you see an email and you're like, oh, this was made in Canva. I've seen this before, because if you are a digital marketer, you spend a lot of time in these tools, you know what these, like this happens to websites too. So you go to somebody's website and you're like, oh, they bought this theme from Framework. Like I also have that theme. Like you can just see, and it just completely, um, reduces your sort of trust in that particular brand, because it's a template that you also have. Thanks, Alex.
Got a question, mate.
Sure.
When you're doing your emails, so far I've seen only like words and photos. Can you input like moving pictures or like video for like previews for like your, I don't know, like for the Zoom call, for example, in the emails as well?
Moving pictures in the email?
Yes. Yeah.
So we haven't done that, mostly because of deliverability issues. Like if you're sending it to a small group, like many of our customers are sending like literally tens of millions of emails, and anything that you're sending at that scale, uh, moving images and pictures, will get flagged, will lower your deliverability, etc. So yeah, we haven't done that yet.
Okay, no, that's fine. I wasn't aware of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah, the more standard you keep the email, the better chances it is. And also, your audience, like the biggest thing that's happening today is that Google is classifying based on the user's preference. Like if I go into Google and market, like move this to promotions or move this to offers, then every other email coming from that domain will automatically go into promotions or offers. Or if I say this is spam, this is unsubscribe, this is my preference for your brand and domain. So you need to understand your audience. If when you start sending emails and a bunch of people unsubscribe, mark as spam or whatever, your subsequent emails will start not appearing in the inbox. So as long as you don't see a lot of your audience, you understand your audience and they're okay with this kind of stuff, that'll be fine. But for most users, if you have a video link or something, they at least they'll mark it as like, I don't want this. Cool. So thank you very much for joining. If there are any questions, we're happy to hang out and answer more questions. Rajesh, if you wanted to sort of have more questions around anything, and you know, go ahead. Hopefully this session was useful, and thank you very much for joining.
Can we get the free, demo account to test it out, or
Yeah.
it is your platform?
No, so it's free to get started. So you can do go to humanic.ai, sign up, and generate your first emails, get your team to create a campaign. One thing I didn't show you is that you can also create a campaign.
Okay.
So you can say, generate me a welcome series of 5 emails, and it'll generate the entire campaign. And refreshing that, etc., becomes a matter of minutes. So like if I
Perfect.
show,
Sounds
if
good.
I show you here, I have created a bunch of campaigns like this one, and this we did for another company, and basically it'll create like multiple versions, entire sequence with the same prompt box.
Awesome. I'll definitely try. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I
everyone.
have
Thanks.
one
Thank you.
question.
Thank you.
With
Yeah.
you said there's a difference between mobile and desktop versions. Is that analytics? You had like an analytics box. Does that show up there? Is that how you know that?
I said that the formatting is different between mobile and desktop, but that's a good question. We don't have analytics right now which tells you how many people opened it on mobile versus desktop. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So then how would you figure that out yourself?
Oh, by your website. So on your website you will have a referrer domain, which will tell you how many people are coming to your website on mobile versus desktop.
Oh, okay. And then you'll infer that for the emails.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks.